Kilij Arslan I. Kilij Arslan Old Anatolian Turkish. Kilij Arslan, Persian, Qilij Arslān, romanized, Kilij Arslan Turkish. Kılıç Arslan or Kılıcarslan, lit. Sword Lion 1079-1107 was the Seljuq Sultan of Rûm from 1092 until his death in 1107. He ruled the Sultanate during the time of the First Crusade and thus faced the attack. He also re-established the Sultanate of Rum after the death of Malik Shah I of Great Seljuk and defeated the Crusaders in 3 battles during the Crusade of 1101. Kılıç Arslan was the first Muslim commander to fight against the Crusaders, commanding his horse archers while a teenager. Rise to power. After the death of his father, Suleiman, in 1086, he became a hostage of Sultan Malik Shah I of Great Seljuk in Isfahan, but was released when Malik Shah died in 1092 in the wake of a quarrel among his jailers. Kılıç Arslan then marched at the head of the Turkish Aghaziva tribe army and set up his capital at Nikia, replacing Amin el-Ghazni, the governor appointed by Malik Shah I. Following the death of Malik Shah I, the individual tribes, the Danishmends, Mangujakids, Saltukids, Tengribermish Begs, Artukids, Ortakids, and Akit Shahs had started vying with each other to establish their own independent states. Alexius Komnenos's Byzantine intrigues further complicated the situation. He married Is Hatun, the daughter of the emir Tzakis, to attempt to ally himself against the Byzantines, who commanded a strong naval fleet. They had 4 sons: Malik Shah, Mesud I Arab, and Tagral. In 1094, Kılıç Arslan received a letter from Alexius suggesting that the Tzakis sought to target him to move on to the Byzantines. Thereupon Kılıç Arslan marched with an army to Smyrna, Tzakis's capital, and invited his father-in-law to a banquet in his tent where he slew him while he was intoxicated. The Crusades. People's Crusade. The People's Crusade, also called the Peasants' Crusade, army of Peter the Hermit and Walter the Penniless, arrived at Nikia in 1096. A German contingent of the Crusade overran the castle Zeragordan and held it until Kilij sent a force to starve them out. Those that renounced Christianity were spared and sent into captivity to the east. The rest were slaughtered. Kılıç Arslan also cunningly sent spies to trick the Crusaders into thinking Zeragordan was right for the taking, and the ill-disciplined Crusaders rushed to Zeragordan despite orders against this. They were consequently ambushed, forcing Peter the Hermit to eventually give up the crusade. The remainder of Peter's crusade was surprised near the village of Sivtat by Kılıç Arslan's army. They were easily defeated, and around 17,000 out of the 20,000 remaining Christians died. He then invaded the Danishmend Emirate of Malik Gazi in eastern Anatolia. The First Crusade would start a few months later. First Crusade. Because of this easy first victory, he did not consider the main Crusader army, led by various nobles of Western Europe, to be a serious threat. He resumed his war with the Danishmends and was away from Nikia when these new Crusaders besieged Nikia in May 1097. He hurried back to his capital to find it surrounded by the Crusaders and was defeated in battle with them on May 21. The city then surrendered to the Byzantines, and his wife and children were captured. When the Crusaders sent the Sultan to Constantinople, to their dismay she was later returned without ransom in 1097 because of the relationship between Kilij Arslan and Alexius Komnenos. As a result of the stronger invasion, Rum and the Danishmends allied in their attempt to turn back the Crusaders. The Crusaders continued to split their forces as they marched across Anatolia. The combined Danishmend and Rum forces planned to ambush the Crusaders near Dorylaeum on June 29. However, Kılıç Arslan's horse archers could not penetrate the line of defense set up by the Crusader knights, and the main body under Bohemond arrived to capture the Turkish camp on July 1. Kılıç Arslan retreated and inflicted losses on the Crusader army with guerrilla warfare and hit-and-run tactics. He also destroyed crops and water supplies along their route in order to damage logistical supplying of the Crusader army. Crusade of 1101. Gazi Gümüştejin captured Bohemond, resulting in a new force of Lombards attempting to rescue him. In their march they took Ankara from Arslan upon the Danishmends. In alliance with Radwan the Etabeg of Aleppo, he ambushed this force at the Battle of Merciven. In 1101 he defeated another Crusader army at Heraclea Sybistra, which had come to assist the fledgling Crusader states in Syria. This was an important victory for the Turks, as it proved that an army of Crusader knights was not invincible. After this victory, he moved his capital to Konya and defeated a force led by William Roman II of Nevers, who attempted to march upon it, as well as the subsequent force a week later. In 1104 he resumed once more his war with the Danishmends, who were now weakened after the death of Malik Gazi, demanding half the ransom gained for Bohemond. As a result, Bohemond allied with the Danishmends against Rum and the Byzantines. War and drowning in river. After the Crusades he moved towards the east, taking Harran and Diyarbakir. In 1107 he conquered Mosul, but he was defeated by Mehmed I of Great Seljuk, supported by Ilghazi of the Ortikids and Fakhr el-Mulk Radwan of Aleppo at the Battle of Khabur River. Having lost the battle, Qilij Arslan drowned trying to escape across the Khabur River. Discovery of his burial. In January 2021, archaeologists led by Professor Ahmet Tanildiz from the Dikil University claimed to discover his and his daughter Said Hatun's grave in Silvan, Diyarbakir. Researchers dug 2 meters deep across a 35 square meter area and focused their works on 2 grave sites in Orta Sesmi Park,